Inner Ramada was coming out when I was in there. So that was 2009. So it was about 2008, but I can't keep track of anything.
Yeah, I was there before that, but I
But
was not here when Laurent was there. I
I
was,
think I think she understood a lot about the course, but I think she also was a way to bring people in. Like, okay, listen, I'm going to teach you something. Every book's saying the same thing, so you don't have to love the Course in Miracles. Like,
right. So
and
yeah,
that was something that drove me away from it a lot because
yeah,
the truth is I wanted the course because my friend that has been a course student off and on for years. She lost her son, everything. And now, after years, she understands the course. Why? Because if you think you're a body, you're not going to get the course. The course is really
right.
written for formless
Yeah,
consciousness.
yeah. So yeah, so we are right now live on YouTube, and I'm gonna welcome Sharon and Bob, Robert, and gonna go ahead and bring up our book, which we're reading, which is Awake, It's Your Turn. And yes, I did get this uh, from Awakening Together. This is a book that they read, and it's a book that they got involved in. Where is it? And so,
The one girl, Lynn, that was with us from the beginning, she's still with you, isn't she?
Lynn
Lynn.
Castaldo, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
she was there last night. Yeah,
She does
yeah,
both, I think. But I've
yeah, she
always
does.
I've
Well,
been
and
more
here's
about her. I don't go in anymore.
she she's reading James's other book on Pal Talk.
I have my
And
friend Michelle on Sunday. She pays for all of these retreats, and I already went. If you go to one, that to me is enough.
yeah, so here we are. Wake, it's your turn by Angelo Delulu. I always say Delulu because my granddaughter Delilah, we call her Delulu. So
Okay.
Angelo Delulu, awake, it's your turn.
Are you
And
better, Lynn? Do you feel better?
I feel better, but then last night I started feeling kind of, it's something that's coming in waves. So, um,
Mm.
and uh, I don't know. I don't mean to talk about all this stuff. My my chest, it feels like I have pneumonia, but I know I don't have pneumonia, and I've been on antibiotics for, like over a week, so it should be clearing up. And if it doesn't, I'll just go and get some more magic. Got to have the magic.
Well, a lot of us need that. I do.
Mhm.
I take magic all the time.
Yeah.
It's funny because people would make a big deal out of it, but you're breathing air, and that is magic.
Well,
So,
yeah. I'm drinking coffee, magical coffee. And I want to say while we're here, yesterday was Carrie's birthday.
ah,
So, and I did
I like him.
a little bit. So happy birthday, Carrie.
Happy
He's
birthday, Carrie.
in her
Happy birthday to you.
happy birthday to you, my sweet
Okay,
dear.
should I read or you read or what?
I'm sure you can read.
Okay. If you are turned off by spirituality or religion or have little interest in spiritual culture, belief systems, or practices, then you're in good company. A common reaction people have when an authentic awakening occurs is this does not feel spiritual. It feels natural, free, remarkably familiar. It is far more vast and intimate than the reality I thought I was living in. But it doesn't feel spiritual. I would like to add that the further a realization progresses beyond the initial awakening, the less spiritual it feels. One of the major aims of this book is to strip away as much spiritual terminology as possible and offer a practical means by which you can wake up to your true nature exactly how it manifests for you. At that point, you can decide whether you want to call it spiritual or non spiritual. I'll wager you won't want to call it anything because at that point you will experience so much freedom, wonder, and ease that you won't care to conceptualize. Moreover, it will be clear that to stuff that experience into a concept would be impossible. The awakened state is far too real, too close, too unbound, to attempt to condense it into any description or label. You'll be too busy being absorbed into the flow of life and loving every minute of it to waste time with unnecessary conclusions, descriptions, and judgments. If you do move in spiritual circles, resonate with spiritual culture, or are involved in spiritual practices, that is certainly no problem. You likely already have some context for what awakening is about. Awakening is just ordinary. That's how I see it. It's an ordinary, it's like there's a saying, the ordinary is extraordinary. And that's because God is always here among the objects. But awakening itself, when it starts to shift and into the I consciousness, meaning that it's in God consciousness, there's just this it resonates in your natural state. You feel more lighter, comfortable, and and it's like when you get caught with a stocking and you have a ring on your finger and the stocking gets caught. It's a run. It's just like that with the mind. You can't you can't usurp any of this. This is all happening organically. It's not happening by any human. It's all God. So he's saying what that with that said, you may be even more surprised that someone who has no expectations when awakening does come about. I've had many people tell me, wow, this is not at all what I thought it would be, but it's more astounding than I ever imagined. Indeed, people who have spent many years as spiritual seekers are completely dismayed when they realize that what they had been seeking all that time was a dream, an imaginary goal, and that it had nothing whatsoever to do with what is actually going on in natural reality, awakened reality. Is this book for me? This book is designed to assist you at every level of the awakening process. If you relate to any of the following, you might benefit from its contents. You have felt that life up until this point has been unsatisfying in a way that is hard to pinpoint. This unsatisfactoriness seems to overshadow or color all experiences. It is commonly described that one's life circumstances appear to be what most people would be consider the makings of a good life, but none of it is truly fulfilling or satisfying. You feel like you are missing something big about the way life is supposed to feel. Well, that's the ego doing that.
Yeah, and having, this is one of the common things that people experience when they're moving toward awakening or realizing there's such a thing.
Or realizing there's such a thing, right?
Yeah. Once you realize that there is a state of being that is at peace and without fear, and that can always be in joy. Once you have that inkling that that's a possibility, then that becomes kind of a goal, becomes a thing that you want to experience. And when you hear other people explaining or describing it, whatever it is that they're experiencing, um, you recognize, I don't have that feeling and I want that feeling. So that is that. And even I never heard or even imagined that there were people who had that state of mind. Except that when I was a little kid, this is really crazy. I saw this old movie called Lost Horizons. And it was a story about a man who was a pilot during the war, and he got lost somehow up in the mountains in Tibet or someplace like that. And he wandered through the snow into this village where it was like springtime and beautiful, and there were all these beautiful people, and it was a wonderful, they were living a wonderful life. And he was like, he had gone from this war and this terrible thing into this beautiful place up in the mountains where, it's impossible for that to be. But he was there, and when I saw that movie and I experienced that whatever it was, something very deep inside of me responded. And I recognized that was the feeling that I had always wanted. And then, of course, the guy is stupid and does a stupid thing and leaves, and uh, you know, uh, goes back to his normal whatever. But that whole time in this place that was called Shangri-La, and we've heard that word Shangri-La, it's a place of paradise. And that's
Yes.
what it was. It was like a paradise. And but when I saw it again, I got this feeling. And then I was a little kid living in a little town in the mountains. So maybe that's why, where it was snowy most of the time or a good part of the time. And I remember going to the Ben Franklin store and buying incense and the incense burner. And I was like 8 years old, and I'm like setting up a little temple in my room because of the influence of that movie. And even though I, had, Catholic, and Catholic Church was very like that as well, I recognized there was something that was beyond, that was a goal. And so that was kind of my whole life, looking for that,
Mhm.
but not even recognizing that, what it was. So
You're
uh
looking for eternal life, really.
yeah, and looking for Shangri-La. Looking for
Shangri-La, yeah.
Shangri-La.
I,
Yeah.
I didn't. I don't remember the movie. I probably saw it because I've seen so many movies, but I'm going to look it up. The Lost Horizon, because Robert said he loves that movie. Nobody aged, nobody dies,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's really, now we age, but we don't die. This morning I just felt like listening to John Mundy's books because I kind of just felt drawn to just listen, and it was wonderful. But it was all like, I think he mentioned something about Shangri-La.
Oh,
You know,
maybe he did, yeah.
maybe
Because
that's why it came up in my mind.
that was
Yeah,
like a movie from the 30s or something.
right. Yeah,
Oh,
they're old.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, the truth is that I had an idea that awakening was that you never get bothered again, and that's not true.
yeah. Yeah, no, I thought it was that I would be in this place of just
Perfect.
great joy and peace of mind.
Yeah, bliss all the
Oh,
time, not have any concerns. I don't have any running programs now that are concerns, but I know they're still there. I can
yeah,
feel, there's still, but the world itself is not interesting to me anymore. It's more just being in the present moment and just being here, as that.
yeah, exactly. So
This
yeah,
is
so
a really intelligent book. The course was written by intelligence. The spiritual intelligence wrote that book. It's genius if you really think about it, the way it was done, because it doesn't ever tell you you're going to wake up right away. Everything takes time. Everything's a process. It's an
exactly.
unfolding.
So okay,
Movies
so
has always been triggers for movies for me are so much like we enjoy that together, Cliff and I. And sometimes, they just make us, well, it gives us something to do too. There really isn't much to talk about either anymore. Anyway, it says you
yeah,
feel like you live inside a prison of self. It is all self-reference preferential thoughts. The more you try to use thought to solve the problem, the right tighter the cage gets. It's exactly it. You want to find a way out of this pain, but you are unsure how to go about it or whether it's even possible to do so. You don't know what awakening is, but feel like a fundamental shift into a more intimate, authentic, and naturally free way of living sounds like a valuable undertaking. You have a sense of what awakening is and want to wake up, but you do not know how to proceed. And the funny thing is, if you really, like it says, you need do nothing, but that book itself wakes you up. The way Jesus mapped that book out, it's an
Right.
unfolding of all of your, and I'm sure it would have happened without the book, but there is a book down the road I'd like to read with you, Lynn. It's called The Collision with the Infinite.
I
I
have
have the
that
book.
book.
You do? Yeah, it's a phenomenal book. It's phenomenal. When I tell you what happened to this woman was she went to a meditation. Did you read it at all or you don't remember?
No, I didn't read it. I got it, but I haven't had it. Yeah, I'm not going to go into my reading problems, but yeah,
No, no, you have to read it on, and I don't know if it comes on Kindle either.
it might.
Um, it might, yeah. But it's a book where she went to she was a TM, she meditated for a while. I think it was just a little bit of time. And she was in Europe. She was very, very interesting, this woman, Suzanne. And she ended up at a bus stop one day, I think it was in Europe, that the bus was picking her up. And sure enough, she was gone. Suzanne was gone. Of, it was the infinite. But what happened was she was in terror and she didn't know what was happening, but she knew she wasn't there, so she didn't get all upset about it. It was just like fascinated me because I often think, well, if I didn't get to a course group or open the book, would I have been where I'm at? Well, I guess I would have, but you don't mitigate all that guilt. The book itself mitigates a lot of it just by giving you something to go with, like, you know, the Holy Spirit, your inner teacher. So
Right, right. And
I think
and
it's an interesting book. I think the book is, Sherry and I just watched Cloud Atlas, awesome movie.
oh yeah.
Cinematic display of the flexibility of time and reincarnation. The entire world is happening at once. Each lifetime brings new lessons. It is like they say, everything is happening all at once. If it wasn't for time, it would all be happening at once, but it really is. If we're stuck in the egoic consciousness, we think like, okay, it's 10 of 10 right now in Eastern time. But really, it's nothing. It's,
Right.
yeah.
That's arbitrary thing we made up.
Well, we made it all up. It's also silly, the whole thing, but it's quite painful when you think it's real.
Right. And well,
It's quite painful because you want your way.
right. And if you believe in time, then you believe that time will end. And when you believe that time will end, that means that you will no longer be here. And this is why, we have the death cult going on here. This belief that, death is inevitable and it's going to happen. And this is, we're here to get over that. The belief in death is one of the major, in fact, the attraction to death, as Jesus tells us in the obstacles to peace, is one of the main obstacles that we have, because somehow or the other we think it's our fate. So, recognizing that death has no dominion over the Son of God. And
Okay.
when you and that, obviously, that's what Jesus, went to the crucifixion for, was to show us, that you can beat it, you can kill it, you can do all kind of things to it, but you can never kill the Son of God. What we are is eternal. So, it's just this
There's a
physical,
book, you know what it's called? It's an Eastern book that talks about it all the time. I forget what it's called. Um,
um, the, I know
the
because
Bhagavad Gita, or yeah,
is that the Bhagavad Gita? Okay,
yeah.
yeah, that's kind of a story book. And
Right. And I
yeah,
think Robert's new book is a storybook. That's what I was looking at,
yeah.
which is also good. But it's so funny because the bug, it's telling you basically you can't cut it, you can't stop, you can't do anything. What you are is in eternal. This is an eternal presence, and that's
Right.
what's made it. And if you really just observe it, it's amazing that this happened. Like we are really a miracle, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what we are is, I mean, this is a story we're telling ourselves right
Yes.
now. It's
Mhm.
all it is. It's a story we're just telling ourselves.
Yeah, and
And
our characters are meaningless, which was really hard for me. It was hard because I thought I'd never ever like let it go, but it's going. So,
right. Well, it's not my character I'm worried about giving up. It's my children and
oh yes,
the people
yes,
that I love. I don't want anything to happen to them. Well, that's the crazy part because they're all in your mind. You
right. They're
know,
not even in a world; they're just images that you've made up that you can actually fantasize about in some way.
right.
You can just put them right back if you want. I mean, you've made them, so our dream figures. I think I want to tell you that I thought Jimmy Twyman was great last night. I just love his voice. He has
I know. He is
such listen to
uh, my internet is kind of goofy because you're kind of breaking up for me, but I'm sure
him
you
with
know.
his lessons that he does, exercise or something, and his voice is gorgeous.
Yeah.
A lot about had a direct experience in a way that is non-conceptual and authentic beyond any doubt. You have had an awakening, and there has been some progress or clarification beyond it, but you still feel stuck. You have difficulty finding good advice about how to proceed. You aren't sure whether there is something more or if you believe that true liberation is out of your reach. All right, I'm just opening this. It's going to be a little noise for a second. I'm opening something. I didn't turn off the thing. So it says you have experienced deep stages of realization, but seem to be endlessly fluctuating between wakefulness and separation, between spontaneous presence and that heavy sense of isolation and contraction. You have integrated realization in various ways, but still don't have the ongoing moment to moment realization as a living reality in your daily life. You believe you are awakened or enlightened, but external circumstances would suggest otherwise. For example, friends, family, or even your students tell you in one way or another that you have more work to do.
Boy, that's something. I mean, first off, nobody knows, so how can they tell? Uh,
Nobody knows any of it. No.
yeah.
Mm. And
So,
I couldn't tell somebody, being the awareness and having it move through me, I wouldn't call myself awake because everybody is. Everybody's awake.
right. But I definitely, when people, I don't really hear many people saying that they're awake. And generally, if they do, they come back later and say, oh, that was a mistake on my part. I forgot. Like Jeff Foster did, he was such a sweet guy that he was able to humbly come back into the the world and say, "Oh, gee, uh, what I thought had happened really was, you know, not exactly what I thought." So, but if you
So
believe,
funny because thought can't do anything. We have been living in the infinite the whole time
right,
because thought can do absolutely nothing except upset you because of the energies it brings up.
right. So it's a that thought is the problem.
Well, it's all thought. This whole universe is just thought. It says you feel as if your realization has gone deep and has stabilized. Externally, life has become peaceful and you find presence and flow nearly all the time. Yet there's still some doubt, even if it is subtle and fleeting. You recognize a profound responsibility to fully embody this realization and would like to investigate subtle dualistic tendencies that may still be a hindrance. This book is a catalyst. When we read a nonfiction book, we are usually expecting to learn something. We are hoping to gain a new perspective or see things in a fresh, new, or empowering way. This is not that type of book. This book is a living catalyst. It will help you to actualize through going authentic and definitive transformation that is wholly outside any belief or perspective. The function of this catalyst is to assist you on a journey directly into the deepest reaches of who and what you are. The funny thing is, we're really nothing. We're emptiness, you know. When you come through the other side, the living truth of what you are will be vibrant, immediate, and fundamental to all of your experience. You will no longer have doubts about who you are or what is real, nor will you care to live from a belief from spontaneity, spontaneity. I can't even say.
Spontaneity.
Yeah, sincerity and their joy of moving through life unencumbered. All the darkness in the world cannot extinguish the light of a single candle. Yep.
All right.
Anyone can wake up.
Yes.
It's funny because I think anyone can wake up, but if you don't have a call in you, you're not going to.
Well, a lot of people are just not aware. You know, again, I always look at non-player characters. You know, I think there are a lot of people who are just projections of my thought, my thinking. They're just there for me to see my own thinking, my own mind. So, you know, sometimes those characters may come and instead of being just the normal people on the street, the family members at the Thanksgiving dinner, you know, the folks that you see if you go to church, the folks that you see, you know, whatever, at school, wherever you go, you know, you look around and how many people do you look around and say, there is there's a person who is aware of the truth of what they are, and they're awakening from the dream. You know, do you look at anybody outside of, you know, even my
Yeah, you
husband?
wouldn't even know. How would you know? Because you're only
Right.
seeing your own mind.
Right. But I look at them and think, well, they're not doing it. You know, they're not doing it because they're not advertising that they're not. But, you know, what makes them different from me, that I'm so special, that I, you know, have this thing. And, you know, I recognize it's because my own state of mind. I'm the one who is giving them that attribute. I'm the one who's making them a person who is not awakening. And even if they're, oh my goodness, and you know very well, you know, my big thing has always been, you know, that, you know, people will be, you know, thinking that they're all high and mighty, but in reality, they are making mistakes right and left. And I'm very eager to point out those mistakes, but I'm not very eager to look and see how truly awakened a person is.
Well,
And
yeah,
that,
I would do that too, but now I don't because I have no clue. Like I'm in a place now where I completely mind my own business. I
right.
can't I can't know what anyone is feeling or doing. You know, my mind made up a lot of crap about different things, but that's what it was. It was crap. It wasn't anything that we could use. Um, and there's a part of our ego or the part that's left that gets arrogant when it thinks it's awake and nobody else is. It's kind
Or
of
that
like,
it,
look what I had.
I have something you don't have. And so, yeah, so, you know, we look at, I'm just a big example right there. Donald Trump. Do you think Donald Trump is awakening from the dream?
No, I don't.
You don't, because why? How do you know any of it,
I
right?
don't.
We don't.
I don't know. I mean, he could be on his way. How would I know?
Right. I mean, he could wake up today and say, oh my gosh, this is what life is all about. Here's what I'm here for. It
I think
and
that guy has a lot. It looks to me, and this is my upset, just observing that he has a lot of pain because you can't possibly be so negative on the outside if it's not in you.
right,
So,
right. Or but the thing is, that is so crazy, crazy, crazy. He is an absolute optimist. Do you know that?
I know, I know, I know.
He is an absolute optimist. When you
Yeah,
see when you saw him with Mom Dommy the other day, was
right.
he not sincerely? I mean, I looked at that man and I thought, this is a sincerely loving person.
Yeah, he can be. See, that's the thing. He's an illustration of our whole awakening.
Yeah,
Or what we have to deal with, because we have a part of us that is insane, that is crazy, and that's mean. And that part of us he shows us. But when he's on the higher self, like he was with Mondani, he was an absolute charming man. This is going to be great. We're going to do this together. So,
I know, and that's his true self. That's more close to the
right,
truth who he is.
right.
He has always been. He's always been an optimist. He's always had a
Yeah,
thought
but
that
I had so many like, but it wasn't him that I was looking at. It was my own mind. But I had so much judgment of him. And
right,
now I have none. Figured that one out.
right,
That let go completely, not from my doing. It was completely spirit. Because you know what it was. You only see the past. So I was seeing my ex-husband,
right,
and I have a lot of compassion for Ronnie now. Like I feel compassion, acceptance. That's all when you can't be hurt here, but we think we can. And Donald Trump, I think he just wants attention too.
right. And he wants to be right. He wants to be the good guy. Do you
Right.
honestly have you ever thought he doesn't want to make a peace in Ukraine? No, he wants peace. He wants everything that we want, but he is, obviously misguided. He's been given uh he's surrounded by thoughts that are uh less than loving, and he himself, you know he's confused about so many things, and
He's
it's
like an example of
obvious.
the cardinal mind. He really is, because that
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
waking up and the cardinal mind in him is still acting like he's in the elementary years.
right. And that's oh, what could you not forgive about that?
Right.
What can you
It's
hold
just, yeah.
against a person who is in that state? And especially in a state where they appear to be uh so lost and so afraid.
Lost and self-righteous too.
Yeah. So, that this is a thing, any character, you can pick up any character in the dream and give them whatever you want them to be. And they
Well, he
will,
got a big part too. He's going to be known in the world. Like there's no world, but he's going to be someone. He's a figure in our dream that's been very noticed.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
I mean, Kamala like fell off. Like she's not in the limelight. He's been in the limelight since what? It's been a good decade, right?
or more, yeah, yeah. Right.
I would
And
hate to have that kind of pressure, but he likes it maybe. Who knows? But everything is a call for love. And had I really, really concentrated on that, but you can't when you're waking up. You have so many, um,
conflicting thoughts.
right, conflicting thoughts, and you have so many triggers. Like those
Yeah,
triggers are really your gift because those are the ones that are blocking the light. But I didn't believe that until I believed it.
right. Yeah. You don't believe it till you see it, and you don't see it till you believe it. So it's kind of a catch 22 there. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a hard time sometimes with, like, when I was with Helen Hamilton. She was making it very simple, but she just said it was the most incredible, important thing that could ever happen to you, blah blah blah. And I believed her, and I love her. Regina too, like she really wanted everybody to wake up, but she just had a different way of describing it. But the only one that can wake you up is you. You don't need a teacher. Your teacher's coming from within you. And years ago, I said to Regina, I don't think you've ever been my teacher. She said, I haven't. And that is, I forget what she was saying, but that was clarity for me because I realized there's nothing here but me. So what is living through me isn't, these teachers, it's the teachings and the teachings that work for this mind. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. And
But everybody deserves gratitude in a way because it's been quite a funny journey and a little crazy at times for you too. I mean,
oh yeah.
I
There were
thought you
a
just
lot of
got
different
picked on though. I didn't like it when but again, I think that was necessary for your awakening. So
right. Oh yeah. Very definitely I needed to see that I was not all that. I
well,
came into
and
it thinking I knew.
right, and in relation to Ted, well, we all have that. We all have that. We all have every emotion that we have. We all have.
Right.
We just hide them until we don't.
Yeah, I honestly thought that because I had been studying this stuff since I was a kid, working on, trying to uh, you know, uh, uh, find the way since I was a kid, I really thought I was all that and I thought I knew it. And so for me, when I got A Course in Miracles, it said to me, "Oh, you've been right the whole time." That's what it said to me. I've been right the whole time. And which was true. I had been right the whole time. But I didn't realize that so had everybody else. And so, for me, and talk about Regina, she was the perfect foil for me. She was the perfect, person that was saying to me, no, you're not, no, you don't. And, then I was going back at you. No, you aren't. No, you don't.
Right,
And
right.
it became
Yeah.
like a little, like a
Yeah, it wouldn't, but see, this is an expectation coming from my ego, but it wouldn't be hurt her to just say, come on over, Lynn, we'd love you to join. You don't have to be a minister to join. It's
right,
ridiculous.
right. But that wasn't, I didn't set it up that way. I set it up so that I would have a conflict. I
Yeah,
set it
so
up
you could
so
bring
that
up more shit, more
yeah,
self-hatred. That's what.
because I could have very easily just said, yeah, I agree, I'll become a minister. Yeah, I agree. No, pride pulled me out and said, oh no, you don't have to do this. This is her rules and but you know what? I was the one who was being contrary. I was the one who was being the
Well, yeah, she had rules and she wanted to follow them, and that might have been hard for her. Who knows? Who knows? I mean,
yeah, I mean it's
setting
all
up a thing like that is hard because so many people that came there really were course students.
oh yeah,
And the course is hard to get if you think you're a person.
right. Yeah.
Let's face it, there's the underbelly of awakening is there's a lot of garbage in us. So we have a lot of stuff that we throw out at each other all day long.
Yeah,
So we
and
don't.
it's in the sandbox. There we are in the sandbox again.
It's really a
So
beautiful text. But I mean, what I love is that life will take you where you need to go, no matter what, to learn the lesson. And what is the lesson? It's always love,
yeah,
always
yeah,
love and acceptance that you're not this. My toughest revelations was to see that what I'm doing now is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing now, no
yeah,
matter how it looks. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
I guess for me, I always thought I was doing it wrong. Oh, I just get it wrong. I'll just do it wrong. It's like, but I stayed quiet more than you, Lynn, because I did not have the background that you had. I was not interested in God. Um, I think I was just interested in psychology at the time. I loved like Freud and I loved all of the great philosophers, but I also didn't get into the Judaic stuff that people that are Jewish do. So the course was really the book that brought me, that and the 12 steps, and they're so similar. And when you mentioned the other week that, the big book is like the course, whether he knew it or not, Bill W. had an awakening. I guess he didn't know it.
Oh,
He
yeah,
wouldn't
he
have,
did. Yeah.
yeah,
And,
it
and
was,
that was, I mean, he said, having had a spiritual awakening, this is, I mean, that's part of the big book. Uh,
I have a memory. The first time I did those steps with my sponsor, we were outside and we were going to have a ceremony where you lit everything and you let it burn. We
uh-huh.
did do that. But I remember saying to her, God, this is incredible. And all it was stillness. And I had no clue what it was. I had none.
Yeah.
You get little bites, it's like if we all would just, and from the very beginning, know that the destination is only now. That's it.
Yeah.
Young played a large role in Young was big at me too. I didn't know as much about Young till I got into the spiritual. I was more into Freud. Don't ask me why. I think it was because my psychologist was a Freudian psychologist. So,
Right.
I got into.
And that was I studied psychology. I took it in high school and I took it in college. I took numerous courses in psychology, and but I eventually ended up with a minor in sociology, which is kind of the same sort of thing, but it's about, how cultures think and how cultures are. But
Right.
but uh knowing how people think and how I think, um, you know, uh, I think it's just a matter of taking it personally and
That's
recognizing,
everything. That's everything.
yeah,
If you take this personally, you're going to have pain. Do not take spiritual awakening personal because there's one being waking up. That's the basic. And I think some of the people that are selling awakening online and all, they're really not seeing that it's really just one awakening. We don't need to talk about ourselves as individuals because it's a one awakening. It's not, you know, I think it's just an amazing, amazing path, but it's also a bit bumpy at times.
right. Well, and you have to be open for, yes, we're just going to start reading. Anyone can wake up.
Yeah.
Anyone. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
And
anyone.
people are.
Awakening is an equal opportunity employer. I've seen both spiritual and non spiritual people wake up. I have seen logical, scientific, skeptical, intuitive, artistic, and emotional people wake up. I have seen people wake up who had a clear intention to do so and worked hard at it. I've seen people wake up who had no idea what was going on and for whom the process seemed to have begun spontaneously. What determines your qualifications for awakening is nothing you believe, identify with, or do. What determines your qualifications is one simple thing. You have a desire to open to the deepest truth of what you are. That's it, nothing more. Wow.
And I
I
think
know
about like Jan Fraser, who, when fear falls away, it seemed like that just happened to her, right?
it
But
did, didn't
but
it?
she had been going to the temple and studying with what's her name? Um the you
Oh,
know
right. I forget her name. Yeah.
I can never remember it, and when I look it up, it says something else. But anyway, she had been doing that for years and had been sitting there, waiting for this woman to walk by her and touch her with this feather so that she could experience, Shaktipat, she could be
Right.
awakened. So she'd been doing that for years. But when she did wake up, she was like, I don't know what this is. This is not what I thought. And the same thing with um, David Cars. Um,
Hmm.
uh, remember him?
I
That
have
is,
his book. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Same thing. He didn't when it happened. It was like a surprise to him. But he had been going to South America and being with these shamans and taking these uh, psychedelic drugs to open his mind, and he had been doing all that. Still, he was surprised when he woke up that what it was. It because we have an expectation of something and we're
Mm.
looking for something, but it's not that. It's not that.
No.
So,
It's funny, we realize that it's happening within us, and we're working like in the groups and doing everything we can, but it's an organic process. It's all just a happening. One of the clearest teachers that I ever listened to was Roger Costello.
mhm.
Um, and he's the simplest too. Like he's just, and I really liked his work. Anyway, it says, I always thought this was something that only happened to other people, special people, lucky people. Now I realize this has always been here. I remember the wonder and ease of this from childhood, maybe before. There's absolutely nothing apart from anything else. True freedom is the nature of everything. Why can't I say that word? You say it.
Spontaneity.
Spontaneity and enjoyment are states. They are the immediate experience of natural reality. There's no problem to be solved, and there never was. There's just this timeless moment of total absorption. Even what I had perceived as difficult thoughts and emotional states are seen to simply be fluctuations in what I already am, pure aliveness. This peace is profound, uncaused, and permeates all of experience. Even these words cannot touch the astonishment of this reality. How this book came about. Several people after awakening who used surprisingly similar words. Many years ago, I had an awakening. Later in the book, I will describe what led up to it, how it played out, and the after effects. For now, I will just say that it was radically transformative at the most fundamental level. It permanently changed how I experience everything. It was and continues to be pervasive restructuring of my experiences of life, myself, others, and the world. Do you want to take over here for a little bit because you haven't read Lim?
Sure, sure. One of the interesting things that I recognized coming out the other side was that I had absolutely no capacity to explain what had happened to me. I certainly knew it wasn't something that could be explained in words or that I could teach. I will go into why this is later. For now, I just want to emphasize that there was no sense of being able to effectively communicate what had happened. Moreover, I didn't have the inclination to share the experience or even talk about it. Really, although I did on rare occasion. When I would share about it, the responses I got from people suggested to me it was best to just continue to integrate and work with what had been directly realized, but not necessarily to try to communicate yet. This was intuitively obvious and not something I had to think about. I certainly never aspired to become a teacher of awakening, spirituality, or anything of the sort. So I just went on with my life. Several years later, I began to notice that, on occasion, while in the midst of a casual conversation, the person I was talking to would have a shift in experience. I didn't feel like I was talking about anything special. It actually felt mundane, like talking about the weather or feelings or life. It would only come up with certain people and in certain situations. With the majority of people I encountered, it didn't come up at all. It seemed to, quote, know when to come up. The strange part was that I had no investment in relaying any particular message, yet the conversation would continue in an intuitive way and felt a bit like dancing. People would ask more and more directed questions relating to their own experience. I was genuinely surprised when I would seem to have the answer in the moment. Sometimes I would wonder, where did that come from? Even as it came out of my mouth. It is still like that. Maybe more so maybe. And I don't know. I've had that experience myself of just just being with people and having it feel like we've kind of jumped up into a different experience where we were joined in a place that was not the conversation we were having. It was a different thing altogether. Um, and I always felt like that was special. Like I had some kind of magical property about me that I could do that. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
It's, if you look at this, like the way I see this whole thing is you could never really describe this because words don't do it. Words are pointers, but they can't bring you to the totality of experience, which is just here.
yeah, yeah.
It's not
Uh,
like a big, I have to tell you, because I was, in Awakening Together for a good amount of time. And I have to say that if I didn't hear awakening, 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 and meanwhile, that was probably important to me, but it annoyed me at times because we really are all awake, and we don't have to do anything. But I'm going to say this book that we're reading, I mean, The Course in Miracles, that's a book that will wake you up. I can't imagine it not waking everyone up that reads it. But again, if that's not their path, then it won't.
right. Or if they were, yeah, and the talk about, it being a different path. Well, there's a path for everyone, and it is your own
Yeah,
path.
that's
And
right.
there's no shared path. There's no shared
No,
path.
yeah, but we're in this together. I'm so glad we're doing this tonight because I didn't know James was going to be on last night. So I was ready to read, so Robert, you'll pick out what you want me to read tonight. But yeah, I'm going to Philadelphia and leaving here about 3:30 in the morning because I want to get to my grandson's little thing for it's his Thanksgiving thing, and he's just 3 years
Aw,
old. Yeah, and I so want to be there on time, so I'm waking
how
up
sweet
early.
that is. Are you gonna go on the train?
Now I'm going with Cliff.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I don't even drive anymore. I didn't even tell you that. I stopped driving because of my neurological stuff. They just told me I shouldn't be driving anymore,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah,
not a big deal for me. I'm fine with that.
yeah. I let other people drive for me, so and that's
Yeah,
cool.
well, you have no choice. You can't drive.
I
You
know.
can't, but you handled it well. The thing is, when I watched you, you handled a lot with grace, where I probably would have been screaming, I can't believe it happened to me.
No,
But
I
I'm
was
like,
thinking that.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but you don't want to make a big spectacle out of yourself either. But I mean, I feel like I'm just more of a drama queen anyway. So go ahead, finish
Okay,
this.
all right.
We
All
only
right.
have like 6 minutes.
Okay. So when then people started having awakenings. I can't tell you what it was like, but I will say that the only thing better than waking up yourself is going through awakening all over again alongside another person. Anyways, I like that. Anyways, that's anyways, that's grammatically incorrect, by the way. That's how all this progressed. At some point, I was talking, messaging, and video conferencing with many people, many different people in various stages of awakening. It still mystifies me, but somehow it works. Over time, I started noticing distinct patterns in the way the conversation would flow and commonalities in what was discussed and where people's sticking points were. One day, I sat down and wrote the first chapter of this book. It came spontaneously and simply. It really is no big deal. But if it is helpful to anyone, how can I not write it? And in this way, he reminds me so much of Michael Singer. Mickey Singer is that way. And Robert, tonight we're going to be looking at his new book. So,
We're gonna look at the book that I already got. So this is about a trial,
yes, and
and
it's
it's a
really
court.
good.
Yeah,
I started
and
reading
I
it
think I
last
would
night.
like it if everybody took turns, like reading. But I'll start off, and then if anybody wants to, maybe
Yeah.
you or someone else, because I feel like all of this is feeding our being. It's all the same. It's just
Oh,
so beautiful.
exactly. And for me, everybody says, Lynn, write a book, write a book. And I've written a lot of stuff, but it's not in me to write a book. This is my book. This is my book here now. Um, and I always think, what am I writing a book for? And realize, oh, just for me. So I don't need to do it anyway, and so I'm not. But anyway, so yeah, John Mundy told me write a book. John Mark Stroud gave me
Well,
a
you
title.
do write really well. I mean, you had that website. Do you still have it?
I do, but I haven't written anything in it since I broke my shoulder. When I broke my shoulder and got my
Right,
computer
right.
stolen,
And
it
I
just
gotta say something, like, the thing is, like, um, if you were to write a book, you'd be moved to write it, but your book is your heart. Your book
right.
is how you greet people. Your book is the book is how you live, Lynn, how you really live. That's your book. Every one of us shows up and it's all the same. And if Robert writes a book, that's our book because he's us. Every single being on this planet that wrote anything is part of us. So it's like we don't have to be the author. We can just, and it depends how we live. Like, do we, there's been writers that have written incredible books like this and then acted out. You see what I'm saying? So it's really like, how do you greet people? How do you, I think it's beautiful that you ended up having this come back again, this gather, and making it the way it is. It's very intimate. It's not competitive. It's a lot of laughter and it's all this love. Like, it's like, you're like the head mom.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So this is our
The
time
author
is
and the
up.
writer are one. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and mark the
Yeah.
book here, and then I'm going to go ahead and close out.
Yeah. Mark it because next Tuesday, yep, I'll be here.
Yeah, and we'll close out the YouTube. And it's always a little bit tricky here and get set up for the next one, which is another